Welcome to My Healing is Your Healing, a podcast for the woman who is ready to stop performing and reclaim her voice. I'm your host, Celeste, and around here, we don't do surface level. We go deep. Each week, we'll explore concepts like self-discovery, radical honesty, and the kind of healing that rewrites your story from the inside out. This is a space for truth-telling, for remembering who you are, and for coming home to yourself, louder, braver, and more radiant than ever. So come as you are, and let's do this together. Let's begin. Welcome back to My Healing is Your Healing, and I am your host, Celeste. And today, we're diving straight into the deep end, into the body, the intuition, and the parts of us that speak long before we find the language to explain them. I am joined by someone whose work sits right at that intersection. Mia Dins is an intuitive medium, a multi-dimensional soul guide, and former elite boxer turned soul-led entrepreneur. Through quantum embodiment, energy activations, and Akashic record work, she helps people reconnect to innate intelligence that's already alive in their bodies. This is the wisdom that we usually override or mute or even ignore. Her story is layered. A decade in New Zealand, walking away from her relationship, her community, and her boxing roots, and every identity that she'd actually built. She chose to let it all fall apart so that she could return to who she truly is. And that kind of free fall rewires you. It rewrites you. It strips away everything that isn't real. So today, we're exploring what it means to trust yourself at a cellular level, what it means to let transformation happen in the body before it makes sense in the mind, and what it means to remember who you were before the world taught you not to trust yourself. So let's get into it. Welcome, Mia. Thank you for being here.
Hi, thank you for having me, Celeste. I'm so excited for our talk.
Likewise. Yeah, I was really intrigued by your website. I love everything like universe, cosmos, not because my name necessarily means heavenly, but because I feel like I continually get these like almost redirects from the universe sometimes when, you're not listening to yourself or listening to the world outside of you. And then it just kind of knocks you on your butt and it's like, hey, you should be doing this instead.
Yeah, this is my message. It's my way of living to have a soul-led life. And look, you can call it universe, you can call it divine, God, whatever. But we have all this innate wisdom within us, right? Our intuition. And when you start trusting it, like your life becomes like a flow. And it's about, we all have been in this victimhood. It's just conditioning when we think everything happens to us. It's like, oh my gosh, me again. Now I'm in this, shitty situation, whatever it is. And that's fine too, right? You're conditioned. But once you start looking at everything, it's happening for you. Yeah, especially the painful moments. And then everything starts to shift because you ask, what is that teaching me? What is the situation showing to me? Is there something I'm still clinging on to? Do I still have resentment or whatever? Yes. Now people probably ask, what if I have a massive trauma or grief or someone left me or things like that? It is for sure hard in this moment. I'm not saying in this moment, like, oh, it's happening for me now. What is it teaching me? Of course, you go through a process of like being human, right? Being human, like feeling it, being upset, but allowing that process, and then you will move to the stage when, if you choose that path, if that's your consciousness, then you choose that question and you ask, what is it teaching me? What was it showing me? Oh, I'm still not setting boundaries. I'm still allowing all these like energies, these low vibrations into my life. So yeah, it's always hard to put it into one sentence. Of course, but this is what essentially it is. Yeah.
I love this. And I also feel like the universe is putting these different guests in front of me as I go through these different stages in my life. And
Of course.
it's so crazy because I was kind of forced to sit on my couch and not do anything for a little while. I had to get surgery. And it was almost the universe being like, hey, Celeste, did you learn your lessons yet? Like, are you ready to become the next version of yourself? And then it was like, no, you need to sit here a little bit longer and kind of like just ask, what are you learning from all of this? Like, how are you associating with the world? What is it that you're trying to impart next?
hmm And how was it for you? I mean, look, like you could have, right? There were two choices. You could have said, I just avoid that and I just, binge on Netflix or whatever, and do these things to distract yourself, to avoid to go inward. Or the second option is you start going in and be like, here, like face your shadow self. Like, what is it showing me? Go deep within. And that's what most people don't do because they are afraid. Like, we all have things that we don't like about ourselves, and they're, nobody's an angel. Nobody, we have hurt people, we have done shit, we things that we are not proud of, but own it, take full responsibility for that. And once you do, you can really, like, that's really empowering when you say, look, yeah, I have done that, but I have learned. And I think that's where most people get stuck. And even I was riding that train for a while, when I was trying to, everything has to be perfect and beautiful, and not seeing my own shortcomings and thinking this is wrong, but really facing the shadows. And it's so liberating when you speak your biggest fears firstly towards yourself and your biggest dreams and desires, because most people never do. So that's why they can never even express it to somebody else. That is so liberating to do that. So yeah, coming back to your situation, how was it? Like, what did you do? What was coming up for you?
Oh my gosh, it was so hard. I used to never want to sit alone with myself. And so, like, having to sit there, and I was so tired I couldn't even watch TV, so it wasn't an option. But yeah, like those moments of clarity where you're sitting with yourself, you're like, man, I this is hard and painful. No wonder not a lot of people do it very much. But when you come out the other side and you've sat with yourself and you've like dealt with your fears of sitting there in silence and being alone, that's mine at least. Um, then I was like, oh wow, it's really not that much of a tragedy to be spending even the holidays by yourself. That's another thing that came up for me. We just had the American Thanksgiving and my plans fell through. So I got to sit there by myself and either decide to take myself to go see a movie and like do things for me or wallow in being alone. And I chose to do all the things for me. So it's like this new leveling up process that I'm learning, and it is so amazing.
It's beautiful. It's powerful. And you did exactly, you choose yourself, because that is, that's my whole messaging. That's what I'm talking all day long, on social media with my clients, with the people I work with. It's all about, I'm not teaching when I say I'm not teaching anybody anything, I'm holding space for people to see, who and what they truly are. And of course I have certain tools and I invite them to use them, but it's all up to you. You have your own unique rhythm. And because I have had so many mentors and coaches, and right when you're vulnerable, when you don't know what to do, we and then all the things are coming up. People say, I have this blueprint for this, I get you out of that, I show you how to be your most confident self. Of course, when you're vulnerable, you feel like drawn to it, right? It's very tempting. Like, it's the same like when they say, oh, we have this new diet pill, who
It's an
doesn't
easy
want to?
fix.
Yeah, easy fix, right? And then you do that. But then what most people, when they come from a vulnerable place and they haven't tuned into themselves, they completely give their power away. And I have done that. And then I was always wondering, why is it not working for me? I felt I'm a failure because it wouldn't work for me. Until I realized, go inwards first. Ask yourself, because you are, I mean, you have this infinite library within you, and that's innate with them. And when we start listening and tuning in, it will give us all the answers. And then you will get guided towards, maybe you need to work with that person. Maybe you get guided to go and do some therapy or a different movement or whatever it is. You will get guided. It's that is called aligned action. But everything else out of this is not aligned. And yeah, it's a very, contrary concept to what we are conditioned to do, because we are so conditioned to just follow the mind and like our programming and scarcity and based on fear. And yeah, I know that. I have, I'm a human. I grew up, and also I have been an athlete since I was 3 years old. So I am very much conditioned with my body. So that's why it led me on this journey to tune really into my body as well. And I personally get body signs when something is not aligned. Like, my body will these days, because I have done so much work on myself over, like so many years, my body will literally shut down. It will not even allow any lower frequency in my energy field. That's how much work I have done. It's incredible. It's crazy. And at the beginning, when it started like that, I thought there's something wrong. I thought, am I having another, episode of inflammation? Are my hormones still, again, out of balance? Did I not listen? Exhaustion, overtrained, all these things. But it was literally, I was not meant to do that. I was meant to see that person or go there. It's like, yeah, I've canceled flights. I've canceled flights. I've done that because, and it was,
Wow.
yeah, I've done that. And that takes a certain level of, like trust. Yeah. It actually happened recently. I was meant, because I'm a nomad. So I'm
Mhm.
currently and I was living a year in Spain, and then I went to Bali, which was on a whim. It wasn't planned because I was meant to go to Australia to see my soul family, my friend. And I, I I through a dream I got guided to go to Bali before. I said, okay, let's go. Let's go to Bali. I was there for 2 months, and then my flight to Australia was booked, visa was organized, everything, and I started to feel like the week before. Also, I started to feel like weird, like the kid that doesn't want to go to school, like after,
Mhm.
long summer holidays. I'm like, what's wrong? Like, it's my soul family, it's my people. And I thought maybe just old fears, like because I have been very much on a solitude journey the past 2 years, which is, like was for my growth. And then anyway, okay, long story short, like 5 nights before, I woke up fully in sweat. My chest was tight, and my body completely, like I couldn't breathe. And like I was like, and I got, obviously, I'm a channeler, I'm a seer and a medium, so I got a vision. I was like, there's something wrong with the house. There's something, you can't go. You do not go to Australia. This is not aligned. And right, the whisper came before the feeling
Mhm.
of, oh, I did not feel excited, but I didn't listen to it because my mind was loud. I was like, oh, come on, Mia, la la la, maybe some fears. And then that was that. And I left a voice message to my soul sister next morning, and I told her everything what I saw and felt. And then boom, it all happened. And I'm so glad because they a lot of things didn't go well with the land plot, with the house that they were living and renting at that moment. Okay, long story short, now they moved away from Perth because of that and found their beautiful sanctuary in by the ocean and Margaret River, where they wanted to be actually 6 months ago. That was a dream. So it was just accelerated. And of course, I will be going soon. But that was, I literally, yeah, I lost the flight. And that was okay because what I would have lost if I would have gone would have been far greater than that flight. But here, look, I'm giving this big example. This is a huge thing. And I practice. I practice every day and learn to trust that. I wouldn't have done these things maybe a couple of years ago, for sure not. Maybe not even a year ago. Yeah.
You're giving me goosebumps because I have a story that I'll share with you in a minute. That I didn't listen to my body. But I'm so curious. So I'll share the story, and then I want to learn how you actually like started out. Like, what was your first like entrance into all of this? Like, how did you learn to get where you are now? Because there's obviously probably some story that got you here, like not your breaking point, but maybe it was. And then like how did you teach yourselves how to feel these things? Because what I'll tell you now is that okay, so I was talking to my mom on a Friday night, and I used to be an Ironman athlete. So the next morning I was supposed to do like a 100-mile ride or something stupid like that. And I was telling her, like, hey, mom, I feel like I'm doing all of these things. I would really like a win from the universe, like basically saying, I need something to prove that I'm like worthy, basically. And so the next morning, I felt funny when I woke up and I was like, you know what? There's part of me, I shouldn't go ride with this group today. It was like this gut feeling, and it was really weird. And I'd never had one before. And I was like, no, you need to go ride. Just go do it. 20 miles in, I hit the woman in front of me. Like I just hit her wheel because she hit something in front of her. And I ripped open my entire face and had to get like 50 stitches in the ER. And if I would have gone off and ridden by myself, that wouldn't have happened. So I don't know, like, how do you start sensing these things? And like, what was your first story?
Wow, thank you for sharing this. This is so powerful because like I recently had Vinay on my podcast, and he said like something similar when he broke his arm because there was like a road was closed and he wanted to go on a motorbike in India. He said, I'm gonna go today. But he's very much a psychic and stuff, like, but he also said like, well, he broke his arm. That was a teaching. that was for you, like, you could say now, oh, if I wouldn't have gone, I would have, I wouldn't have had all this, trauma, the operation, everything. But it was a teaching, and learning, everything is a learning. There's no right or wrong as such, like now you know. And it's really hard because that gut feeling was probably very subtle, and it's only 2 seconds, and then boom, the mind gets in very loud. And then now on top of that comes the layer of being an athlete, because an athlete, we are conditioned to push through certain limits. You could have easily said, oh, Celeste, I'm just tired, or, like, don't be such a wuss, going for a ride. That would be my self-talk, when I was boxing actively and things like that. So it is really hard. It's not easy. It's actually really hard, right? But that's why you start with small things. And yeah, the only thing I can tell you to practice this is start and learn your own body language, your own signs, goosebumps. Like, for me, it is like when I'm about to make decisions, and I don't do logical decisions. I do everything on my intuition, on my soul. It's like, does it feel expansive in my body? Like, can I breathe? Does it open? Like, yes, go. Like, I need a full fuck yes. Yeah.
Yes.
That is very important for my energy system, not like a half-hearted thing. That means still not good. So I always like align with until I can have a full yes. If I'm in this position, right? I'm always saying, if I'm hanging on the cliffs, I don't have 24 hours to align. I have to make a decision, but that's something extreme now, yeah? And if it's contraction, if there's contraction in my body, in any fiber of my being, then there's something that is not meant to be. It doesn't mean never. Maybe it's not that moment, right? Sometimes I had that with the gym or with training. Let's go back to training. I had that sometimes. That would tell me, like, maybe I was in the morning, and it would not feel right. It would make me feel contracted. And then, of course, my mindset from it being an athlete comes in, but you go. And, I love working out. It's not like I didn't want to, but sometimes it was about, and then when I listened, it was great. Then I went later. It was, sometimes it doesn't mean right now in this moment. It may be later. And then when I took that time in the morning, I got a massive download about a business idea, or I need to contact someone, a massive shift, or maybe a healing that needed to come up. And if I would have gone to the gym, that would have not had space to come through, because I would have been focused on my workout. It would have been, distracted, and it was massive. So I had all these learnings. Now to your question, with when I started, I don't even know how to. I guess I have always been intuitive. I mean, we all are. We all are. We all are. We are born with that. It's our compass. Our system that's our navigation system. But we just unlearn to use it, because we get then we go into society and then school and all the programming. But I'm just trying to think about, like, I guess because I've always done it in a way, but I've also done a lot of, I'm also can be very mindy, and the mind control things. If there was like, I had many breaking points in my life. But when I started to realize that there's a higher intelligence, when I was 5, 6, I had like already past life memories, but I never spoke about that. But when my papa passed away, when I was 13, I guess because I had to break through the concept of what we have been taught through God, like the religion of Christianity, that there's God and then life and whatever it is. And I didn't believe that. I didn't want to. I had to question that. So that's when I started to look for these signs, and when I realized there's more than just 3D and just our body and the physical way, that there's something energetically as well. And that led me on this whole journey. Yeah. And then of course, then all the healing started, and like with the trauma from childhood and all the abuse and things like that. And yeah, I guess that's when I learned there's my own language. There's something that is bigger. And now it comes to me as well, because you probably, this one thing that really like broke it all open, where I thought, okay, I have to just trust myself, is when I tried everything with mentors, like especially with my business, when I always, and business and other things, and even being an athlete, I was never, the system and the rhythms would never suit me. And I thought there's something wrong with me. I thought, come on, I'm very disciplined, Mia. Let's go. You can do it. Use that template. But it wouldn't work. And I thought, I'm wrong. But then I realized, no, there's nothing wrong, but I have my own rhythm, like we all have. And it's beautiful to pick the spices from different people and put, your own recipe together. That's how I would visualize it. And that is when I started to go internal and be like, okay, first ask myself, what is going on here? What do I need? And then I started to realize, oh, I have much more energy. My life is flowing more. It feels more expansive. And I have actually so many bigger visions and dreams. Before I was like so boxed in because I was trying to fit. And I guess that is my message for people. Like, it's easy to get sucked into that. I understand. Especially with all the social media and the distractions. We don't need to talk about that. I'm sure everybody's knowing this. And not just that, but also people around us and family and like, yeah, to go on this journey, because to get to know yourself, why wouldn't you get to know yourself? You are the person you spend the rest of your life with, that guaranteed. The rest is not guaranteed. So you want to know yourself.
I feel like you're my mirror right now. So the conclusion that I came to this last week is like, why would I not want to like cherish myself and love myself? Because I'm going to be the only person that knows like literally everything about me, my truths, my lies, my happiness, like what makes me completely lit up. And why would I outsource that to somebody else, especially if there is no Prince Charming that's necessarily going to come and knock on my door, right? Like I can live a very happy life.
Mhm. Yeah, you are your Prince Charming. You are. By your soulmate. You're everything. And I'm not saying like that that's supposed to be like we are meant to be celibate. And I want and I will have my soulmate. I definitely know. But the foundation is to realize you are it. You are your own healer. You are your own mother, father, coach. I mean, there's so many layers and nuances because I started to reparent myself. I know everybody probably is aware of inner child work, but also I did it with my papa and from the other realm. Like he was helping me and becoming my spirit guide, anyways, because he was a healer, which I didn't know at that time because I was too young, because I was very hidden, right? And so he taught me all these things and helped me to remember, which is so beautiful and powerful. And then like I'm doing all the work now as like I am in a relationship. I am in the greatest and most important and most precious relationship right now. And that is with myself. And once you know that, then everything else will just, you become a magnet for everything that you're meant to have. And what's meant for you, you will never miss. You will never miss. Like there's you have your soul, your destiny, your soul map. Everything is already pre-written. That's my own belief, right? I'm just sharing my own experience and like my philosophies here, and whatever resonates with anybody, of course, take it. What doesn't, leave it. It's totally fine. And we are like, it's like a GPS system. So when you miss the off ramp or the road or wherever your way, it will redirect you. It always does.
Yeah.
And this is happening. And it's not about to sit on the couch, roll your thumbs and do nothing. This is not what I'm talking about. That's what most people misunderstand with surrendering. I used to think that too. I had this misperception of surrendering, but it's actually, you have a desire, but you also let go at the same time, and both coexist. Both energies coexist. And then there's a third component, to have complete certainty, or to know that this is going to happen. And that can all coexist at the same time. And that's a teaching I that really helped me, is the Kabbalah teaching. I don't know if people here heard about David Guillaume. He's out there. He's probably one of the most spiritual leaders right now, not just spiritual, but in all senses. And that is one of the messaging that really resonated with me, when it just, because everybody says like we have multiple timelines happening at the same time, and that's what it means. It is true.
Yeah.
Because everything exists at the same time, and to know that, right? Yeah.
That has been the hardest thing for me, at least in this, to to let go. And because I would like white knuckle life, right? Where I'm trying to hold on to a specific outcome. Um, but my brain cannot comprehend what is possibly out there for my life, because there are so many amazing stories that could happen. And so like letting go and almost just trusting that what is meant for me, like you said, that GPS is going to redirect me if it's actually meant for me. But if I wasn't supposed to get off at that off ramp, then I'm just going to keep going and I'll find my way. But like letting go and trusting that whatever is meant to happen will find its way to me. I don't know why that's the hardest thing for me to actually now jump on board with after I've done all of this. Like, I want to call it like a cleanse almost, because I had to let go of the past self that I was. And now, I'm becoming the person that I want to be, but it's still very hard for me to release the grip.
It's very natural. Everybody does it. I do that too, but because I practice it every day, I may be in this energy maybe for a couple of minutes. If it's something bigger, maybe a couple of hours, but then I move through it much bigger. The letting, you said something so beautiful with the brain. The mind cannot see in the future. That's what the infinite soul, what our soul is doing, right? That is so excited about these infinite possibilities. And also, when there's change happening, the brain will only ever be able to measure what it's about to lose, never what it's about to gain. And I tell myself that every single time, because since I'm a nomad and I change, locations all the time, different countries, like I'm constantly putting myself in this uncomfortable position of like not knowing, because I don't know. I go to countries they don't even speak English. Like here in Vietnam, I had maybe twice a conversation in English. That's it. The rest is just complete body language and energy. That's what I do. And to be okay with that, to completely trust. And yeah, there's a lot of things that go wrong, and I have to learn and be like, I should have listened. But this is the excitement. So always remember that. Like, this is when you have complete trust in yourself, knowing that's where, when there are situations that are unknown, that's why the complete self-trust is so important, to know that you have the capability, that you trust yourself, that you know you're strong enough, and that you have all the tools you need to handle any situation that is coming your way. And I learned that from boxing, because every single time before a fight, you never know. All I knew is I prepare myself the best way I can, the fitness, my mind, sleep, be on weight, the food, all these things, be strong. And that's all I know. The rest, I don't know. I will never know, because how would I know how this fight is going to be, or with any sort of competition? And that's why being an athlete, you have a huge advantage, but also at the same time, you kept in your way. But you have a huge advantage to go in there and to know this is the preparation. That's the work you do every day, the unseen work, like trusting yourself, doing, like when you need, maybe you wake up and you don't feel that great. It's okay. Like, not nobody wakes up every day be like, hey, hi life, and that's not good. Like, but be like, okay, I don't feel great, but I still trust that this is going to be an amazing day, or like that all your things are on the way, and do the things that you need to do in that moment. And you need more nurturing. So look at your day. Where can you cut more things off and have more time for yourself to nurture, have more compassion, things like that. So yeah, but you can only find that out when you start being with yourself and learning to listen to yourself, that you have a unique rhythm. And you will start figuring out, oh, okay, when this situation comes, I tend to do this. When this is happening, I tend to do this. And then you kind of create a flow, and that's beautiful.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. Okay. So I have a couple other questions for you. Let's see here. Oh, you talk a lot about remembrance, and like that healing isn't the idea of becoming someone new, but it's like remembering who you were supposed to be, or who you are underneath all of your thought patterns. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, like it's like, because we all, like I said, we are all born like with our intuition. Actually, we all are channels, and that's my, like my belief system. Also, I believe in past lives. I don't just believe in this current life. I believe that we also bring in karmic, ancestral lineage stuff from past lives, and that our soul chose to come here to clear that. And it's like, when healing is not like, you're not like becoming someone new. It's almost like, let's say you have a lot of layers of clothes on. That's probably the best thing that comes to me right now. And you just take them off, like step by step, layer by layer, whatever you are having the capacity to alchemize at the time and to see, because that's how healing happens. And healing is not a linear process. It's messy. It's completely messy. That's what people like also underestimate. It's like it comes in waves, and sometimes it's a huge wave, and then it's going down, and that's the part of it. But you start to remember, okay, I've always been that person actually, but there was some conditioning that layered over it and like dimmed your light, or you got like something happened in your childhood and that taught you the belief, never shine or don't be too
Mhm.
much, quiet, all these things. I mean, we have all these amazing, beautiful tools like psychology, so many healing modalities. So everybody can choose whatever suits them, like some don't like all this quantum stuff. It's too much for them. For me, it's absolutely my thing. And that's cool. Then go with something that's more coming more into the human psyche, things like that. At the end of the day, they all do the same. That's what I realized. I have
Yeah.
tried and explored so many. And I feel like every season requires for me to use different things. But I have my to-go things, and there is creating stillness so I can hear myself, can hear my own inner voice. And then you will start to see who you are, what you truly are, and that it's a remembering. And we also bring certain tools and skills from our past life, things that we are amazing at. Everyone has a gift, and we are here to shine that gift, to bring it to this earth, because we need your light. We need your beautiful gift, mine, and everybody who's listening, like everybody. Yeah. So
How do
that's
you start unpacking your past lives? Like, is that something that everyone can do, or is that something that is just, if you can get deep down enough inside of yourself?
Yeah, I mean, everybody can do it by themselves if they wanted to, but I believe it would be great to start with someone who can help you to see. There are different tools you can do, hypnotherapy or past life regressions. And then when you are very advanced, you can tap. It's called the Akashic records, your soul records, and you can tap into them yourself. But it is a harder thing to do. You have to be really advanced and I think trained for it, because there's a blind spot. Your mind will come in. Even with myself, it still often happens that I think, oh, yeah, you just make this up. But now, when downloads are just coming, it's there, and then I can see it. I'm like, okay, cool. And it's not about to linger on in that past life and be like, oh, I have been a warrior. It's more to understand, okay, you bring certain patterns in, and am I here to use them for my strengths, or is there something I need to let go of that is still holding me back? I used to be at the beginning, I used to make this mistake. When I say mistake, that was my learning experience, that I thought I have to go into every nitty-gritty thing and understand it, be like, okay, where's this coming from and why? But sometimes certain things just show up, and they're just there to be seen, and then to let go. And no, there's no need to go further. And I also have this belief, and I set the intention, whatever I'm meant to go deeper in will be shown to me, it will come up. Like you said, like you have all these guests given to you. You need to exactly hear that today in this very moment. Whoever is tuning into this episode will need to exactly hear whatever we talk about, or something will get activated or triggered. Yeah, triggered. And then this is for them to choose what they do with it. So yeah, I mean, there are heaps of ways, but yeah, essentially everybody can tune in.
I love that. I also love how you say that when we're going through this process of learning for ourselves, like you almost go or you've gone through a number of different like mediums to find what it is that you've needed, right? So maybe it is psychology and maybe it is um I don't know. But you go through these different processes. And so I like to think of learning as like, say you're going on a hike and you've seen this tree before and you're like, oh man, I'm lost. I came back to this tree. And so it's like this problem or pattern that you're working on in the moment. And you're like, okay, well, I'm not lost and I'm not broken. What is this teaching me this time around? Or like, what is the new learning that I can get from this? So like, that's kind of interesting to me that it's like, each time you're trying to learn something new, maybe there's a different direction that you need to go.
Yeah. And one thing I wanted that just came up when you were talking, it's like when you asked about the remembering, I think, and I used to think that way too. And we are also like wired that way. People always look for some more. What can I add? What can I add? Oh, I need this new thing. I need this. I need to learn this. But how about let's look at what we need to let go of, right? And you said, and you're not the only person. I believe everybody has felt it this year, to let go of some of an old version of ourselves. It was the year of the snake, big shedding, rebirth, like extreme, and it still was going. We still like we're in the last month, so. And I know that a lot of people are tired of it too, but all you can do is ride that wave and let go. But that's the thing. And I had to come to that realization as well. And that applies to any area in your life. we always look at the seed, right? We want to plant this beautiful seed so we can have this beautiful flower. But have you looked at the soil you're planting in? If the soil is if it's full of toxic old stuff and patterns and whatnot, then no matter how beautiful the seed is, it will never be able to grow in that way. And that goes with your body, right? When people come to me about the body, like I said, you need to look into your system first. Are you actually able to absorb nutrients and things like that? Because you can do all the great stuff, all the good nutrition, take it all in, do all the meditation, sleep. But if your system is not working in the most optimized way, and if there are lots of blockages, then that nothing will help you. That's just how it is. And I had to learn that myself with my own body. Yeah. I was always looking for, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that. But I never really took the time and looked at, okay, I'm actually full of shit. Yeah. Literally.
I love your analogy. It is so true because yeah, you're like you were saying, like, here's all of these fad diets, here's all of these things, like just go out and do more and be more. But you have to let go of things too. Otherwise you're just going to be like a hoarder on the inside.
Yeah. And not just physically, but also energetically and emotionally. That it is like, this is the biggest part. Like, I've worked with people, we didn't even look at their diet, like way of eating, nutrition, and workout. We literally looked at the energetic component and emotion. They shed like weight, like literally like energetic weight, emotional weight, and with that came the physical weight as well, like a couple of kgs, just because you're holding on to things. Your body is designed that way. That's why our body is so beautiful and amazing, because yeah, when there's certain emotions that feels not safe, it will hold on to an extra layer of like cushion of safety. And I'm not saying now, okay, do this work and then go eat McDonald's every day and you will be, it's not like that. Okay. There's like some like unhealthy relationship to food, but I'm just saying, this is like, there are so many things to look at, and it's about going inward. But yeah, most people just want to have the easy fix. That's it, unfortunately. Yeah.
I've loved this conversation so much. So if any of our listeners today was going to take away one thing, what is it that you're hoping that they would take away?
Radical self-trust, and take the time to get to know yourself. Take that time in whatever shape or form that may look like, whatever that will take of you to do, whether it is a meditation, journaling, going for a walk, or like some undisturbed time, and like find that way, like really get to know yourself, because it's the greatest journey and the greatest relationship you can ever endeavor and explore. Yeah.
It really is. It really is. So how can our listeners actually start to work with you, and what can they do with you?
Well, I have my quantum embodiment program that I'm like currently running, and that's where I take people on this journey to go like the once all over, like really learning to trust your body and learn to tune in. And that also includes a component of, we will look at food and also like some workout flows that may suit you, but this is not the main thing. And I don't give like, I would say like templates or like an instruction book, but it's like a journey of self-exploration and discovery and finding out your own rhythm, and also how to learn to trust your own intuition and how to tune into that. And then of course I have also my readings that I do, like soul path readings and the Akashic records, where I help people. Yeah.
I love that. So link onto your website. I can put it in the description if people want to work with you.
Yeah. And yeah, they can find all the links and my own podcast as well, which I have.
Amazing. Yeah. Send me those links. I'll put them on the description.
Yeah. Cool.
Amazing. Well, it's been a great time talking to you. Thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for bringing your truth and wisdom into this space. What I love about your work is how fiercely it brings people back into their own bodies, back into the place where the answers actually lived. So, for our listeners, if something stirred in you today, if you felt that pull towards a deeper self-trust, remember this. Healing doesn't happen from the outside in. Our new Year of Becoming Circle started in January, and we've been diving into identity and intuition and what it means to come home to yourself. So you can join us using the link in the show notes, and you can also find Mia in the links as well down below. Until next time. Keep showing up, keep growing, and remember, you were never meant to dim your light.
Thanks for tuning in and being here, for healing out loud, and for walking this path beside me. If this episode cracked something open or helped you remember a part of yourself, pass it on and share it with someone you love. For more support, free resources, or the next steps to your journey, head over to my website, myhealingisyourhealing.com. And if you loved today's conversation, subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your words help this space grow and help more women find their way home to themselves. If I was your muse today, then my healing is your healing. Until next time.